All right, so you're wondering, what are the things that Dave actually does when he flies so he doesn't get sick? First off, I have a giant amulet. No, actually, I don't have an amulet. What I do is I say, all right, what can I do to my body so that it'll be more resilient for the environment I'm going to be in? So what's going on in airplanes is dry, crappy air. It's low in oxygen. It usually has toxins present. And you could say, yeah, toxins, schmoxins. Guys, I flew with a laboratory grade air meter and I looked at small particle, the 0.2 or 0.02 and smaller. And I looked at formaldehyde and all that. I'll tell you, newer planes have much better air than older planes. But I think Delta oftentimes flies older planes, and this has to do with how they compress air. I also travel with a charcoal mask. Not because the charcoal mask is going to pick up these particles that people breathe out, because those particles aren't really how you're going to get infected. You're going to get infected by most things from touching the seats or the bathroom or the doorknobs and then touching your eyes or your nose or your mouth. So you want to avoid doing that. I'll talk about that in a second. But you can breathe stuff in. And what happens with dry air like that is you end up getting tiny cracks in your sinuses. So what would you do to make that not happen? You can get something called Xylitol nasal spray. There's a couple different brands of it, Xylitol. It's a common sugar alcohol that comes from birch trees. And we actually use it in some of the bulletproof products because it's a good sweetener. It also has this neat effect. It keeps bacteria from adhering to surfaces. It gets bacteria drunk, but not you. And so you can use that in your nasal spray. Now you've got moisture. It always has salt water in it too. In your nose, you're less likely to get cracks. If you do, well, bacteria isn't going to stick to them. That would be a useful thing to do. So I'll do that before I fly. Also, let your mitochondria do some good work in a low oxygen environment. Don't eat sugar when you fly. In fact, it's better that you don't eat anything when you fly. Have a few ketones present. To do that, I'll have a bulletproof coffee before I fly. And if it's the time of day when I'm not going to have bulletproof coffee, I might eat a little bit of something before I fly. And I like to have a little bit of brain octane with that to bump my ketones. Dr. Veach, who worked with Hans Krebs, just passed away. And in fact, I think I was his last interview before he passed away, which is a great honor. And he said straight up, ketones protect you from inflammation and even some forms of radiation when you're flying. So having a few ketones present is a good idea. I also take Keto Prime. It's a supplement that I formulated for Bulletproof that helps with mitochondrial function when you fly. I take coenzyme Q10 when I fly. I take vitamin C, N-acetylcysteine. I take the Bulletproof glutathione when I fly. All of these are to protect my detox systems and to help my body be more resilient against all things, including just being tired, including against inflammation. I wear compression pants. And the other thing is, inside that nasal spray, I will open the bottle up and I will put in either colloidal silver. I'll just add some. There's a brand called Argentine 23 that's pretty good, but any colloidal silver can work. Or I'll put a drop of good old-fashioned iodine in there. Now, when you do that and you spray it in your sinuses, what ends up happening is, I'm talking 1 drop of iodine in a whole bottle. You don't want to spray pure iodine in your sinuses. You could really harm yourself that way, but a very, very, very weak solution. What that's doing is it's killing the stuff in there, so it's less likely to cause problems for you. I am a guy who had sinus infections or strep throat every single month for almost 15 years straight growing up. I almost had sinus surgery. I fixed my sinuses 1 week before I was going to go under the knife. And I've studied this a lot. That is a pretty powerful combination to do. So you do that when you fly with those things in there. And surprisingly enough, the odds are very high that when you land, you're going to feel good. And that charcoal mask I travel with, it's because sometimes when the airplanes are landing or taking off, they vent jet fuel, something called a blowback, into the cabin. That stuff will make you sick and give you brain fog. So if I smell jet exhaust, I breathe through a mask. The rest of the time, I sit there, I drink a ton of water. Don't drink airplane water unless it's from a bottle, ideally the sparkling water. I'll tell you why in a second. Airplane water, especially the hot water, is from a tank that's never washed. If you increase your toxin load, you don't feel good. So get good water on the airplane, drink tons of it, and don't drink the airplane hot water, even though that's kind of sad. From there, honestly, reducing your stress load when you fly. So don't read news outbreaks about the coronavirus when you're in the air. Listen using noise canceling headphones. I'm using my favorite ones right now. They're in-ear noise canceling. I don't have a deal with these guys. They're Bose, but the over-ear ones are big and bulky and annoying. The ones that are inside your ear work better, in my opinion, and they're my daily use ones. They're comfortable, they fit, and most importantly, you can't hear anything on an airplane. I wear my glasses, the True Dark glasses. Yes, I started the company. Yes, I make money if you buy them. And yes, they're different and better than blue blockers, and I love them. I wear those and usually a baseball hat. And now I've blocked out junk light. I've done my best to deal with junk air, and I've blocked out junk noise. So I've lowered the stress on my system, and I've increased my energy supply, and I've taken basically supplements that help with inflammation and mitochondrial function. I've also protected my sinuses. And when I sit down, I'm going to take that wet cloth they give me, or I'm going to spray any one of my favorite antibacterial things. There's something called HOCl. Branch Basics makes an antimicrobial thing that's pretty good. You could use rubbing alcohol. You could use little wipes. It doesn't matter. But wipe down the armrests that you're going to be touching all that time. Wipe down the table, kind of scrub the thing you're going to sit on. I highly, highly recommend doing that. And at that point, use a tissue to open the bathroom door and wash your hands after you go to the bathroom. You'll be okay.